welcome y'all to Backwoods Obscura, a podcast dedicated to the lore, legends, and myths surrounding the creatures that may lurk in your backyard. My name's Hewitt.
I'm Chris.
So,
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. We got a new setup.
Okay, so the episode where we announce this is not going to go live because
Audio issues. Oh my god.
Yeah, that night was pretty cursed in terms of audio. We had to use a blue snowball. And what we didn't know is that the power connector or the cable connecting to the PC was slowly moving out during that episode.
Yeah.
So it just got lower and lower and lower.
It was like we were slowly walking away from everybody while talking about something that was moderately uncomfortable.
And then we were just like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck. So we fixed that, and then we recorded 2 more episodes with the setup.
Yeah. But, now we also got, to try to reduce some of the other noises, we got the microphones again back off of the table this time.
Mm-hmm.
Good mustache there with your beer.
Yeah, thank you.
We are drinking a Belgian tonight while we record. But, hey, have you been okay this week? It's been Thanksgiving. At the time of this recording, it was Thanksgiving for us. Whenever this gets posted,
it might be like closer to the end of the year.
Yeah, it might be New Year's.
No, I mean, it was a good Thanksgiving. I'm glad it's done. Like, it's always a rush to get things done because it was...
Because you can't trust your brother to cook macaroni.
I wasn't going to say that, but
I can't
Ruby would.
I can't trust my sister to cook macaroni.
Yeah, your sister had gluten-free macaroni?
Okay, so my sister is now claiming that she is sensitive to gluten, which has been proven not to be a thing. You either have celiac or you don't. So either your body can process gluten or you can't. She's saying that, it builds up in your system and your body just revolts against it. And I'm like...
That's not how it works.
No, but I let her say what she wanted. But she made gluten-free macaroni and I forgot something. Because I was feeding the baby, is that Emily and I made a pact that we would both eat some of the macaroni. Just so that my mom wouldn't be like, why didn't you eat any of the macaroni again this year? And I'm like, because it's gross. I completely forgot that. So Emily got like a big old scoop of it and put it on her plate to like placate everybody at Thanksgiving. I come back in, there is no macaroni on my plate, and she is looking daggers at me. She's like, you betrayed me.
How dare you?
But my wife is right. It was both soupy and dry at the same time.
How does that happen?
Runny cheese and chickpea noodles that are overcooked.
Chickpea?
I actually really like chickpea noodles.
Okay, chickpeas are good.
And lentil noodles, but like I love those. I do like those noodles. I just wish they weren't $2 more than the garbage that I'd normally eat noodles. But
I mean, if you're not eating noodles like every day, you're fine eating that. But no, I mean, I prepped 2 turkeys, smoked a ham, had a bunch of boudin. I did the mac and cheese, the collard greens, we had so much food.
You did. Okay, so this will make you laugh. Em and I went and bought, like tomorrow when we play our game, Em and I are going to go get some hoagie rolls. Because we have our entire ham still left uncut. So we bought a ham. We bought rolls. Emily made a 1910 recipe of pecan pie, which has custard. Like, you need to try it before you leave tonight.
Yeah.
It's actually custard because Karo syrup didn't exist at that point.
Well, my family has never used Karo syrup for pecan pie. We've always used brown sugar.
So I was the only one in my family that ate a piece because it is a brown custard because there's chopped up pecans in it. And I had my uncle and both my parents who were boomers, and then my sister and my brother-in-law who were always on some form of diet.
Are they the types that's always circulating like different bad diets?
No, that Mike lost like 120 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Over the course of a year, 2 years. Over the course of 2 years, he lost about 120 pounds. Like he dropped carbs completely. He started exercising. My sister did the same thing. And then my sister started bartending.
Oh, that'll do it.
And just stopped.
I mean, any sort of like restaurant job is going to fuck you over.
So, any case, so we had ham. We got rolls. We had pecan pie. I made my scalloped potatoes. Emily made whipped sweet potatoes. And my family decided to try to mess with her about it because she did not put as much brown sugar as they wanted in it. And she goes, there is brown sugar in the kitchen if you want to add more sugar to your already sweet potatoes. I just don't make diabetes potatoes.
Right.
But my Uncle Scott did not listen to what anybody was bringing, so he brought rolls and ham.
Oh, of course.
And then brought green beans, which my mother also cooked. Green beans. And then he brought a corn casserole when my mother already made corn. So, like, Scott got high and cooked last night and brought all of it, or got high the night before Thanksgiving and brought it all the next day for us to eat. And so we ended up with way too much. And because Scott made it, we had to eat Scott's first because he's sensitive. So I still have like a 3-pound ham that we're going to be making sandwiches from tomorrow.
Hey, that's good.
Win-win. Also, because they don't listen to this, all the leftovers of what my family cooked and left here have been thrown away because I do not like the butter beans have been eaten because my mother will make good butter beans, but my mother somehow made corn not even taste like corn. This is the real cryptid. My mother's cooking.
I'm of two minds because I'm like, you shouldn't waste food, but at the same time, I have been given food where I'm like, I'm never going to eat this.
That's where we are because it's stuff my son won't eat. And also, again, my family is really bad. Oh yeah, since Emily made a pecan pie, my dad went and bought 2 pecan pies because he didn't trust a northern pecan pie, and he was kind of an ass about it.
What is... She's lived here for like over 10 years.
He also tried to make a joke about LSU and Notre Dame, and Emily's like, who's got a winning season right now? Who still is in the playoffs? And the answer is Notre Dame.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't know. And
here's the deal. I really don't care. The only reason Emily gets annoyed with it is the coach at LSU is the former coach at Notre Dame, and he literally bounced mid-season from recruiting a kid for Notre Dame who was coming to play at Notre Dame because he wanted to play for that coach, and then that coach went to LSU.
Oh, wow.
Knew he was going to, 5-minute meeting, I'm out, bye boys, and walked so he could get paid better. So, that's a really long catch-up.
That is a pretty long
And there is no segue from it into what I've got to talk about. So do you want to hear about, a couple of dragons in the United States?
I like dragons.
Yep.
I've been playing Dragon Age.
Cool. Don't tell me nothing about it because I still want to buy that one.
Solus loves you and hugs you.
That's bullshit. I've seen the demo. Anyway, let me tell you about the first one that's in our neck of the woods, known as the Gowrow.
The Gowrow?
The Gowrow.
The Gowrow.
The Gowrow. Now, it is named for the noise that it makes. So the Gowrow goes, Gowrow. So I'm assuming it's a Pokemon. It's obviously the final step in the Poke evolution because it is a 20-foot long reptilian.
20? So it's like a big alligator.
Has 2 large tusks.
Not like an alligator.
Has large clawed hands with webbing between the fingers.
Kind of like an alligator.
Has short horns that sometimes run also down its back along its spine.
I mean, it like horns, or is it like scaly?
It said horns.
Is it
I am going from a newspaper's description here, good sir.
Is it like a Stegosaurus type deal?
Depending on the artwork, yes.
Okay.
There's one picture from this that looks like someone decided that the Chupacabra needed a set of wicked gas station knives for hands.
Well, I would say I was hoping it wasn't like horns, as in like the horns start on the head and then they just keep going back to.
No, it's like it has horns, but also has like spiked protrusions from its back. But they called them horns in the newspaper. Has a long, thin tail that ends in a blade or a spike, depending on the description.
This is just a dinosaur.
It has a large, heavy body, as it was claimed that when it was walking, it could shake the ground for about 13, 14 yards around it. So
that's a big boy.
That's a big, heavy boy. And that it could rip up trees fully just by, saying, fuck you, trees. The Lorax does not speak for you anymore because you're dead.
Well, you know what? If he was conscientious, he could make a good... He could, have a good business doing that.
Could. So that's what the Galrao looks like. No description in color, but I'm going to go off on a, say, dark green, brownish, brackish color kind of thing.
I'm going to say black with white spots.
Now, the Galrao is another one of those creatures that were sighted back in the 1800s. Much like when we talked about the Moon Man at Kilgore Hill or the first sightings of the Yazoo Mermaid. So, the Arkansas Gazette on January 31st, 1897. The article was written by Elbert Smithy. The illustrations were by Elmer Burris. So it's Elbert and Elmer.
That's going to be confusing.
Now, the article was based on a story from a man named William Miller. Now, supposedly, in Searcy County, known as Blanco at that time, there was a creature that was going around killing a whole lot of the livestock, just mutilating, eating them up, just nom, 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 nom. So, William then formed a posse, and they went after the creature, because what's the most American thing? What's the most Arkansanian thing you can think of?
I mean, the most human thing is, like, I see something weird.
Shoot it.
I'm going to let's get our pitchforks. Let's chase it down.
So,
and then we're going to eat it.
So, they formed a posse. They're going to go kill the Galrao. They find its lair. Just a big old cave that has
So they went on like a D&D adventure.
Yes, they found a cave strewn with bones.
I thought you were going to say they walk into a trap, rocks fall, everybody dies.
No, but they find a cave strewn with bones, both animal and human alike. And they hide. They just like, we're going to hunker down. They built themselves like a little blind.
A ghillie suit?
Yeah. You know, that Gilly was there. The guy who made the first ghillie suit. You know, Gilly T. Gilliam. T stands for Gilly. It's like pterodactyl.
Ah.
Only, you know, instead of the P being silent, it's the T before the G in that section. Second Gilly.
Okay. Sure.
Now, the beast came lumbering out of a lake, and the first posse member, who apparently was not the best at hiding, got his leg ripped off and slammed into a tree.
That's not good. The leg bleeds a lot.
Yep. And so what everybody else did was open fire in a series of 5 volleys on the beast and eventually killed it.
Oh.
So, like, they just...
So I'm assuming we have historical evidence of this.
Yeah. So...
For the listeners at home, he moved.
I moved the computer so Chris could not see what is in my notes. Anyway, Williams, then, being the avid... naturalist that he claimed to have been, sent the body to the Smithsonian, but wouldn't you know it, the Postal Service lost it in the mail.
Oh, dang.
You know how you just so happen to misplace a 20-foot long reptilian dragon-esque creature? You know, happens.
And of course it's dead in like the 1800s, so you know that thing stank.
I don't know, man. They might not have invented smell yet. Everything was in sepia tone according to TV back then. Anyway, so that's one of the stories about the Galrao. Now, some of the other ones were collected by a man by the name of Vance Randolph. Now, some of his stories date back all the way to the early 1880s on sightings of the creature. Now, he states it is a species, not an individual monster that was living out in the woods that got gunned down by a posse after it ripped one dude's leg off. Because he said he found the eggs and that they were very large, soft eggs, similar to like a reptile eggs, like just a kind of leathery egg, and that the mother Galrao would carry the clutch of 3 to 4 baby Galraos in a pouch after they were hatched.
So the Galrao is kind of like a kangaroo.
You know what? I'm not going to say no to marsupials at this point, man, because marsupials get weirder the more you start learning about them.
You know what I just learned, and don't make fun of me for this? Mm-hmm. That a bandicoot was an actual marsupial.
Yeah.
Like, I thought Crash Bandicoot was just his name.
If we're going to go on things I was today years old that I found out, did you know that water buffalo in Africa can dive up to 15 feet underwater, and that they will and can flip your boat?
Oh, that's scary.
So, I mean, like, I knew water buffalo were called water buffalo because they're, like, in the water. Like, they're always near water to help us cool off. Then Emily showed me a TikTok, and it was just a water buffalo, like, scuba diving underneath the water, just going, and you just see those huge horns, and the guy in the boat. Well, shit.
Like, I'm dead.
And I'm like, yeah, because the nickname for water buffalo or Cape buffalo is also the Widowmaker. They clap lions. Like, it's not like they sort of do it. Like, one of them can take one or two lions out because they're the better part of a ton of beef. They're the biggest cow on the planet, I believe. Anyway,
it's like watching a hippopotamus chase a boat.
Yeah, realizing they don't swim, they literally jump off the bottom of the river.
Yeah,
that's how angry you made the fat potato. It is literally rage running at you through water. Now, one story that Randolph collected was from a spelunker who encountered the beast in Devil's Hole.
Okay, well, so spelunker, where are we again in the South?
Okay, so this is Arkansas.
Okay, Arkansas, so that would make sense, yeah.
So there's a spelunker ran into the creature in Devil's Hole, which is a cave and state park. But apparently the Galral was in the Devil's Hole.
Lots of people go in the Devil's Hole. There's always a party in the Devil's Hole.
Now,
things get spicy in the Devil's Hole.
So, but the thing is he collected all these different stories. And it's kind of like the newspaper article. There's a lot of I heard, they saw, or hey, look, this bone is a Galral bone, or my grandpa fought a Galral.
So it's a lot of like hearsay and stories
right.
that
so,
people.
And one of the other things that's connected to the Galral is what's called a Galral show. So it started out with one farmer, an enterprising man, who claimed to have caught the Galral eating pigs in his barn. And because its spikes and horns were too big to get back out the hole it made getting in, it was kind of trapped. So he started force feeding it apples, and it caused the Galral to get fat and bloated.
So he pulled a foie gras on the Galral?
Yeah, apparently. Just got this Galral big and fat, and he would then charge people to come and see it, and he would then go behind the curtain, and you'd hear an explosion or hear a bang, and then he came running out, covered in torn clothes, covered in like dyed corn syrup, blood.
Yeah.
And oh no, the Galral's loose, and everybody would run off before they got to see the Galral, and he pocketed all the money. Now,
how many times do you expect that to work before people are like, wait a minute?
Well, the original one happened on my guy's farm once, but there were traveling Galral shows that went all around the state and all the way up until the 1920s, like the beginning of the Depression. You still had Galral shows.
So they would just pull the same stunt every time.
They would just keep moving around and moving around.
I guess it's easy to not pull that when, there's no...
Well, the problem is Galral shows died during the Great Depression, because if you fleeced me out of, the 25 cents that I paid for my family to come see this, because it's fucking Arkansas.
It's your head.
And we're broke as shit, because everybody's broke as shit right now. If you don't skedaddle quick... you and the Galral are both going to be buried somewhere. But now, there's also a couple other stories that fall into the category of Jack stories. Like the hero Jack.
Yeah.
So, this version, Galral was coming down out of the Ozarks and was eating up cattle, eating up young women. Just, being your general nuisance of a dragon.
Being a dragon, yeah.
And so, Jack came into town and was given 3 silver bullets and a shotgun. So I'm assuming these bullets were like slugs. And he missed the first 2 times, but hit with the third one right in the Galral's weak spot. You want to know where the Galral's weak spot is?
The nuts.
The taint.
Oh, okay. So
like the way it was described, a section of the pelvis between the legs that was between the gonads and the anus. And I was like...
the gooch.
You shoot the Galral in the gooch. You know what? You shoot anything in the gooch, I think it's done.
Yeah. So, wait, do you have to, bop it on its shell? Like it's Super Mario to get him on his side so you can get a gooch shot?
No, you just gotta aim really well. And then when he returned, he married the mayor's daughter. So these are all the Galral stories I found. So let's talk about some of the explanations of what the Galral might actually be. Number 1, alligator.
Okay. No, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you killed a 20-foot alligator, that's cool, but if that alligator was a dragon, it's cooler, right?
Yeah.
So, like, also, let's be honest, if you're all trying to ambush an alligator and somebody gets their leg ripped off because they're being bad at hiding, no one wants to say that they got their leg ripped off by an alligator. That's not as cool as saying you got your leg ripped off by a dragon.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, though. Like, if it's a big enough alligator and you survive that encounter, even if you were gored a bit, like, that's a fucking...
That's some Red Dead Redemption 2 shit right there.
Yeah, like, you're, like, sitting... Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be embarrassed if I survived an alligator encounter.
Yeah, but we live today. We're not those, like, 1800 men that were, like, smoking cigarettes, like, the second they came out of the womb.
They died at, like, 35 from, like, dysentery and shit.
Next one is the Galrao possibly could be a oversized razorback pig.
Oh, that's cool.
The tusk and the spiked fur or spiked... Because, I mean, have you ever seen, like, razorback's hair?
Yeah. It's spiny.
It's
almost.
spiny. It's quill-like. It's not quite like horn or a spike, but also, if you've seen what some pigs, especially some wild pigs, when their tusks get too big, they'll grow through their...
Yeah, they like pierce their head and shit. It's wild.
So, other thing, it could be a dragon.
Okay, yeah.
You know, we'll throw that one out there. It's not. So, what is 100% what the Galrao actually was? Charlatan Act and tall tales and people cheating folks out of money during one of the worst time periods in our country. Great Depression round 1, if some things are believed to be true here in the near future. But my sources for the Galrao were the Encyclopedia of Arkansas, Cryptids Fandom, Only in Your State, Galrao, and ky3.com video. The Galrao exists, and it's just the Galrao story over pictures of the woods and some dude like thrashing on a guitar.
You know, we need more. We just need more animals in general, not just cryptids that are just the name. Their name is just what they say or what they screech, like Galrao. What would the Falcon monsters be? Hoo-woo?
Ooh-woo. Ooh-woo. And then we couldn't call Andrew Glass. He would just be Ass Man.
God damn it.
Bringing that one back. But I also have another dragon that's connected to this. Well, and the fact that it's sort of a dragon in an area that was sort of the United States at the time.
Okay, so we're talking like a pre-colonial?
No. We're talking about post-independence, but we're talking like 1790s. And it is the Chicalachila. I hope I pronounced that right. Chicalachila. It is a two-legged scaled humanoid, brown, black, and yellow scales. Yellow underbelly, darker upper belly, or back. Large webbed feet, large head with red eyes and an extremely wide mouth. White tuft of hair on the top of its head, stands about 4 feet tall and leaves goose-like tracks when it ran away.
Ah.
So, weird dude.
Wacky boy.
So the first and only noted occurrence of the Chicalachila was spotted by the militiamen in 1790 in the Cumberland Mountains. They were marching through the area to make sure that the British had actually evacuated all the forts like they were supposed to at the end of the Revolution, but we didn't pay back all of our debts, so they didn't leave all the forts, and it's going to be kind of an issue in certain areas all the way up to the War of 1812. So there was technically in some areas that were part of the United States at that time that technically were still manned by British forts because we didn't pay back our debts yet.
It's like, whoops.
Yeah, what you gonna do? Anyway, they saw this creature. They were told, do not shoot anybody unless they absolutely deserve it, because you shoot a British military officer, you might start
another
war. And in 1790, we still have the Articles of Confederation, and we're broke. We're not doing hot.
It's like we just came off a big war. We got a nice win, and we're also just
we're broke, and we have an ineffective central government that would be like a Republican's wet dream right now because that government didn't even have the power to levy taxes. The states had to voluntarily give the federal government funds. Fuck that in every way. There's a reason why we made the Constitution, and the articles got thrown out. Any case, before I get on that soapbox, so they see this creature just derping in the woods, and when someone goes, "What the fuck is that?"
like, don't shoot it though. It could be a British man.
It jumped,
look at the teeth. No,
it jumped up in the air about 8 feet and spewed a red liquid from its mouth at them that was very pungent and smelled bad. They thought it was blood, but it couldn't spew that much blood and still be alive. It then ran off into the woods, turning back every so often, hissing and kicking things at them in case they were following, and then just fucked off into the woods.
So it just decided to spit what seemed to be like a foul liquid at them.
Yep.
Possibly blood, but probably not.
Yep.
And then it was like, I'm going to kick shit at you until...
and run in the woods. This story was published in the Hampshire Gazette in what is now Tennessee. It was published in the Knoxville Gazette and in the Baltimore Daily Intelligencer by 1794. So within like 2 years of this event happening, major newspapers would cover it, and by the end of towards the end of the 1790s, almost every major newspaper had run this story, recycled from the original papers.
So okay, so nowadays you will have someone write a story online, and then someone will take that story and write it for something else, but like rearrange everything.
Yep.
Was that kind of what they're doing, or were
Yes.
they just taking that verbatim?
In some cases, on smaller newspapers,
They just
whole cloth.
Yeah, just verbatim.
Yeah, but they it's not like somebody else put their name on it.
Yeah.
Like
That's what I'm figuring. It's like they're just like, okay, we're just going to take this story, we're going to print, because I figure like the laws back then were a lot more lax and
to a little bit, but to let you know, one of the biggest parts of the First Amendment is freedom of the press, because for the founding fathers in the early American Republic, the press was the main way anybody got any info, how you did anything. Like the newspaper was the lifeblood of the colonies and then the states. So like we have some strict laws protecting freedom of the press.
Right, yeah.
So there wasn't a whole lot of stuff that was like, also, what are you going to do? You're going to sue this one podunk ass newspaper in southern Georgia? Apparently. Now,
I can't believe this. You didn't turn off the phone.
Shush. Now, the Cherokee also had stories of snake people living out in the woods and in the mountains. And they also had several legends describing snake-like humanoids. Now, some of them were like, oh, this one dude and his friend were hunting, and like there is a law saying, like the chief said, you cannot kill and eat squirrels during this time of year. They're for the forest and for the sacred spirits. And this one dude's like, fuck that, I'm going to kill me some squirrels and make me some gravy. And then his friend's like, hey, don't eat that, something bad's going to happen to you. Like, you'll probably get turned into a snake or some shit. And his friend's like, nom nom squirrel.
And then he gets turned into
and then
a snake.
got turned into a snake.
Shit.
And his friend's like, I could kill my friend and put him out of his misery, but like,
it's my friend.
But it's like, he's my friend, but also like, I might also get his curse put on me, like, because he's being punished by like the forest. So like, if I stop the forest punishment on him,
I get punished too.
I might get punished too. So like, then Snake Man just slithered off to, make out with the lady from Squidbillies.
Like his friend gave him a salute and was like, go get him, partner.
So, I mean, it's just one of the, like, they tell stories like that. There's also, as sacrilegious as that probably was, or version of the story, they also had snake deities.
Right.
So, like, the idea of a giant serpent or a humanoid serpent or a flying serpent were all throughout this area already.
I mean, we also talked about in previous ones about Bayou Teche and how that was formed. That's a Native American tale about a giant snake that died and made the bayou.
Right, and then when we talked about Damballa and Ioweto, they make it rain.
It's so crazy. Like, like, I did not realize how much people associate. I mean, I guess I should, but like snakes and like life giving.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of literature, not a lot of literature, a lot of like lore out there about snakes being deceitful and representative of like, you know.
Well, that's mostly the Judeo-Christian belief.
Yeah. But if you look at like medical, I mean, like what's the sign?
Yeah,
The staff that they hold. I forget.
Yeah, Hermes' staff had the two snakes intertwined around, and that's what we still use for pharmacy.
Yeah. So it's so wild to me. Like, I don't know why snakes, in that sense, became like the symbol of like life giving or like.
Well, a lot of religions and older religions had snakes as an important role like that, but when you get to the Judeo-Christian aspect, one reason serpents are used as a symbol of deceit is because think about the Babylonian gods that were snakes, or snakes were important to them. So if you're coming through and you're trying to say my religion's better than your religion, well, snakes are bullshit.
So that I can see where that comes from. Then it's
anybody
it's a
out
reaction
there,
to
yeah. And for anybody out there, we're not saying anything false or true about a religion with this statement. It's just that, like, from a historical standpoint, how do you make someone else's religion look kind of bad, or how do you make yours look better?
Well, I mean, it's also like hundreds of years of just evolution and things happening, and
right. But also think about like
evolution as in cultural.
Well, even look at like Hercules' labors. Why are some of those things the things he hit, and why is there a lion? Well, kind of killing a lion or a boar is cool, but think about some of the things he had to do and some of the creatures he had to go against could be symbols of other religious beliefs that the Greeks were like, look at our hero triumphing over the barbarians.
There was, like, at one point, Europe had a lion species, right?
Yeah, the Eurasian lion died out, like, I know that there is a photo of the last Eurasian lion. Like, what they think.
There?
Yeah, it's one of those, like, it's a lion, like, someone has, like, a long-distance photo, and that is the last known photo of a wild Eurasian lion.
It is so crazy to think, because we always think of like a lion as like a very specific to its area. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting.
Now the creature gets its name because William Blount named it in a letter to John Ray. Apparently, I found a little bit of information. John Ray was in Congress and is apparently one of those dudes that's like one of the he's like the double backup bass player from like the founding father age group kind of thing. Like,
so he was there. It's like, go wait in the hall and you might need to sign.
Well, it's like everybody knows John Hancock, George Washington, Ben Franklin,
Samuel Adams, blah blah blah. Yeah,
John Adams, Thomas the motherfucker Jefferson.
I mean, he was a motherfucker.
Yeah, among other things. But like, he's one of the other founding like, there's a huge number of founding fathers that most people don't.
It's so wild. It's like people. I mean, going on another tangent. Like, when you actually look at the list of founding fathers, it's like, oh, that's a huge and wide ranging list.
Also, I am older than like nearly half the founding fathers now at 40. Like, a lot of the
they were like in their 20s.
Like Hamilton, Burr, Madison. A lot of them were in their 20s during the Revolution.
Well, when you only lived to like 35 after dying of dysentery, I mean,
well, that's why you respect Mr. Cruz.
Yeah,
you don't diss Terry.
God damn it.
Anyway, so eventually, like I said, this story was published everywhere. So, what was this creature? First off, the most common description is it had goose-like feet, that it regurgitated something at them, that it kicked at them as it was running. This is the defense mechanism of a lot of birds.
I was going to say vulture.
Crane. They think this might have been a crane with a skin disease because it's not noted as having arms, and if a crane keeps its wings in, it does not look like it has arms, but it also a poof of hair on the top of a head, a wide mouth, red
Now,
eyes.
we're not talking about like the herons you see around here. We're talking about like a different crane altogether.
Well, I mean, it could be similar to the herons that we have, but I mean, yeah, it just occurred because you've seen how big or how tall cranes can get. It could have been a person with some form of
long neck disease, and
well, not just
it was Terrar. I knew it.
No, it could have been a person with an abnormal build. It could have been someone that was born with a deformity. They might have been born without arms. Now I don't know about jumping 8 feet in the air, but
did he have jowls?
Now next thing is a lot of people thought this was a demon.
Of course, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
It could be the result of a dragon and a human hooking up, and
so it was a dragonborn.
Yeah, but like not the way we think that it should happen.
Not the cool way, not like the
like
D&D or Skyrim way.
For like every dope ass like dirge looking individual that could have come out, there's like that one that's like, ooh.
No.
Wow.
Oh, no. He should have stayed in the oven a bit longer.
Have you ever seen the movie Beer Fest?
It's been so long.
The guy accidentally made monkey frogs and was like, he had to set them on fire, and he's like, I'm sorry. I should have never made you. You're an affront before God. Like, you're like, yeah, that sounds like it could be cool, but like for every cool combination, there's always
that one where you're like, oh fuck.
Like,
oh no.
Because, like, think about, like, some of the, like, demigods in history that were, like, for every Hercules, there's, like, the dude who is, like, the reverse mermaid that's, like, a fish with a human lower body. It's like, I don't even have hands to pull up pants, so I'm just out there Donald Ducking it.
I gotta stay in water because I have gills, not lungs. Like,
this is terrible. But also, this is the one I prescribe to. There's weird shit in the woods. Like...
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's
I hate to say it that way as blah as that response might actually be. It's just there's weird shit in the woods. How many times have we seen something in the woods that was weird, never saw it again? So don't know what that was about, but
so you think it's like seeing a stairwell in the middle of the woods sort of deal?
It's one of those like weird shit in the woods. Like, could this have been like? What is the most likely thing? It was probably a malformed bird, like a bird with some type of
or
skin
it might have just been a bird.
Yeah,
they might have misidentified it.
Could have been a bird that they've never seen before. Because, like, think how trippy a shoebill is if you've never seen a shoebill.
Yeah,
like the fact that the Pelicans logo for the longest time down in New Orleans was actually a shoebill, and they didn't realize that because pelicans are derpy as fuck. Shoebills look mean, however. You can get a shoebill as a pet. I've been informed I'm not allowed to have the dino burb. That sounds like a machine gun when it decides it's happy.
Apparently, if you bow, you have to bow to them.
Yeah, you gotta give them respect, and they will bow right back. They will also eat a whole duck.
I mean, I could see that.
Birds are fucking monsters, man. They're still dinosaurs.
I've seen the picture of a shoebill that's like doing the thing where it like opens its mouth and like puts its head back, and you see its spine.
And you're like, so I mean, think about that. Think about if that thing did like and hissed at you and just did that, and you're like, what the?
It's like, okay, I'm running away now.
Like it. No, like again, think about like the first time someone ran into a damn alligator.
Or shit, like think about the time like someone ran into a turkey.
Okay, that one only ends hilarious to me, but think about, another one. Think about the first time someone saw a deer stand up. Like, they do that all the time to get the food, but all of a sudden, the deer just stands up and squares for a second. You're like, well, we're in Princess Mononoke now, guys. We are all about
I'm hearing the music. I'm hearing the beautifully orchestrated music. I gotta run.
We gotta go back home where that beautiful food is.
Oh, that food.
But my sources for this one, which I don't want to say again because I'm afraid I'm going to mispronounce it. One of my favorite named YouTube channels I'm going to have to watch more of, Whiskey and Cryptids. That's
a good one. I like that.
Whiskey and Cryptids. The Kamak Stone WordPress, Chickalachila. The Past and the Present WordPress, Chickalachila Communication of Cryptids in Tennessee. Like, there's not a lot. Like, I had to put these two little stories because, like, Emily again showed me those TikToks that had the Gowrow. And the Gowrow looks so dope. And I was like, oh my God.
That's so cool. And then there's like nothing out
I'm like,
there.
man, I've got like one MS Paint designed website to look at here that still has that.
That was me back in the day with I say back in the day, it was like a year ago with the Parlingua. I was like, man, this sounds cool.
So I want us to have a palate cleanser because I know we're eventually going to have to re-record Walking Sam, which is not
ideal,
not fun. Like, that's not a fun story.
Yeah,
these were both kind of fun. Like, I'm starting to warm up to the idea of some of those tall tale creatures.
Yeah,
like the jackalope and stuff like that being something we could talk about in here, because that's kind of that's. I know that a lot of people know of a jackalope. I don't think a lot of people know the story of things like the jackalope, and that's what the Gowrow is. The Gowrow to me is one of these like fearsome creatures of the backwoods.
Well, I mean, you can also attribute that to something like the Krampus, which, like, everyone kind of has an idea of what the Krampus is. It's like a Christmas creature. It's a spooky creature of Christmas. That's its whole modern deal. But I don't know anyone that, like, including myself, that would actually know, like, the deep lore and history behind the Krampus.
I do.
Well, I mean, I would assume.
I have run the Krampus. Oh, Crammy Cakes. I've run them in a couple different games.
Oh, Crammy Cakes. Don't you know? I'm sorry.
I actually, in one of the Dresden games I ran, talking about the Krampus before we sign off.
God damn it, Hewitt. You're supposed to turn off your phone.
Yeah, I didn't, though.
Dang it.
You know how, like, Santa Claus has a lot of Odin in him?
Yeah.
Well, the Krampus rides with Santa all the time, right? Who is Odin's blood brother that has a set of horns?
Loki?
Yeah, I ran Loki as the Krampus in a Christmas Dresden game.
Okay. Well, you know what? Thank you for these stories, and thank you for listening. This is Backwoods Obscura. We release every Tuesday. We also are Team Bonus Action. Team Bonus Action is a charity online group. We do tabletop games, video games, and have live play games. Through the end of 2024, we are partnered with Extra Life and Batson Children's Hospital. So if you donate to us at any point, all those proceeds will go to parents to make sure that they do not have to worry about paying actual bills or their child's medical bills. And that's the gift that keeps on giving. So please help some folks out, pay it forward, because our healthcare is a hellscape. And have a happy holidays, and have a good day or night or whatever time it is.
Hey, and check us out on Blue Sky.
We love our Blue Sky.